We got camp clothes. Access to camp clothes on console. There was another one. There's another mod that got added recently that adds all camp clothes. Wings unlocked. Oh, wow. This looks so cool. No flappy wings when walking in the world. They're closed during dialogue. Lets you spawn in more wings. Flying is supported. That is so cool. Yeah, there's definitely a couple characters where I thought it would be really sick if they just like sprouted wings. Oh, you can't dye them. Okay. Dwarves, halflings, and gnomes cannot have access to wings unless we want pixie wings. Yes, of course. Why is that even a question? Pixie wings should be in the mod. Chuloco. I'm gonna get in contact with you on Nexus, but yes, 100%. Add it in and take it out if people bitch. But like, if it's possible, put it in there. Become a vampire was already in here, so that must have updated today. You can romance multiple partners without jealous reactions or breakups. Oh, this is dope. See, this is a mod I really wanted because I just want to be able to experience all the story as much as possible. Uh, and running the risk of ruining relationships with characters and having them change their personalities on you is really annoying. So I was just like flat out not picking up certain companions because I just didn't want to have to deal with them. This is another new one I saw. I think Lydia's Heads was already here. Yeah. Dread Overlord. This is a patron subclass for the Warlock. Okay. You are a cultist under a pact with a monstrous draconic lich known as the Dread Overlord. Under his banner, you aim to spread his malevolence and terror over all land. In return for your service, boundless power over death itself and the promise of eternal life wait. Command the very souls of the dead and raise greater undead in his profane name. Totems, questline. That's really cool. All the subclasses and regular classes that have been added through mods all have like their own unique little items and subquests and little things to like find out in the world. So they're not just like shoved into the game and you won't feel any progression while playing. Melee focused necromancy themed warlock. Unique soul harvesting mechanic. I don't know about the definition of unique. Every single class I've looked at so far with Mod Manager has a soul harvest in the name somewhere. Makes subclass feel balanced. I love that. We're adding that just because you said that. 30 unique spells, features, summons to enjoy, new weapons and armor to add to your arsenal as a melee or pure caster. Unique undead minions to command, balanced progression, new Dread Overlord related books and lore. Love that. Profane Blessing side quest, obliterate your foes, legendary size. Oh, wow. This is amazing. This looks really cool. I've always wanted to do a solo leveling honor mode run type build, and I've thought of a couple different ways to make that happen with like multi-classing, going with like a necromancer, thief, dual wielding, summoning, and this kind of looks like everything that you would want for that specific. You get additional minions. Um, oh wow, wait, what is this? Hold on, started skipping over some stuff. Multi-classing. Oh, okay. So if you multi-class, your necrotic features do carry over. Monks can use necrotic armaments. Very cool. Gale has a benefit of using these items without actually being a Dread Overlord himself. That's pretty cool. There's profane blessings to find. In-game progression. I don't want to spoil too much for myself. The being able to just find these things uh, out in the world randomly is part of the fun. Talk about the class features. You imbue your melee weapon with necrotic energy for 10 turns, turning it into magical and unable to be disarmed. Deal a d4 at level 1, scaling at 5 and 10. Flails, maces, scimitars, and sickles and offhand are also ignited. Oh, shit, yeah. create crawling claws from a corpse. You can raise 2 from a humanoid corpse and 4 from a beast, starting at level 4. They deal 1d4 plus necrotic equal to proficiency bonus and move very fast. Oh, okay, cool. So you can summon basically like little like spider type monster claws, up to 6 at a time. It looks like starting at level 5, coming off of a human body and a beast body. Cannot be slowed. Soul Harvest. You may harvest the souls of the dead and bind them in a shield of souls for protection, or invoke the spirit's wrath against your enemies. You may bind a maximum of 1 additional soul to your shield, which increases the protection of your shield. As long as you have the captured soul available, you may invoke the spirit to spook your enemy, protect allies via ghostly apparition, or will a vengeful phantasm to strike your enemies. Shield of Souls. You can command the souls to surround you in a protective shield, adding 1 armor class until long rest. Okay. But you can't wear light, medium, or heavy armor. That's a great trade-off. Commit Corpse. You may bind additional spirits to your shield via Commit Corpse. Gain an additional bonus 1. Okay, so depending on the number of souls you put into your shield, you can basically have a long rest active shield spell over you to increase your AC. But I imagine there's more things to use your soul charges for, because otherwise I would just be having 5 armor class every single time. You can overcharge your shield and deflect projectiles. Harvesting souls beyond your maximum unlocks additional bonuses. Spirit Book. Invoke Spirit Spook. Oh. Release a spirit from your soul shield to distract enemies. Okay, that's pretty cool. Apparition. Protect an ally, so you can share your AC with them, basically. Gain a +2 for 3 turns. Will a Vengeful Phantasm deal an additional unavoidable 1/6 with necrotic on hit. Empowered deals double damage by each phantasm. Whoa. Okay, so you basically got a phantasm is like magic missile because it cannot miss, but you can also you can empower it and deal double damage for each phantasm. So that would be, I think you can have a maximum of 5, it said. I think it said you can have a maximum of 5. And I think it costs 1 to empower, so you would have 4 phantasms, and then you can double the damage dealt unavoidably. So what is that? 4d6 plus 1, and then it's like critting almost because you're just flat out doubling it. It's not like 2d6s, because that would have a range. It could be like 1 through 6. It's just flat out doubling the damage. So you would shoot 4d6 plus 4, on average do 12 damage, something like that, plus the 4, 16. And then you would deal double damage automatically. So 36 damage if you consume all your charges. Not terrible, pretty good. These are all really low-level features, too. We're not even into the good stuff. As part of your pact with the Dread Overlord, you gain special bonuses based on the pact boons you choose. Pact of the Chain, you gain Summon Skeletal Hound, pretty cool. Pact of the Blade, Necrotic Armaments, you can afflict Bone Chilled, which I think that's the effect that the spell, what's it called? Chilled Touch has, making it so enemies can't regenerate health, I think, off the top of my head. Pact of the Tome, undead minions around you gain necrotic damage to their unarmed and weapon attacks. Pretty cool. Summoner of the Damned, you animate dead at will. Dread Overlord, special bonuses based on the packs again. So it's a very customizable class depending on the pack depending on the type of warlock that you like to play. If you're like a Gish warlock, you like Pact of the Blade, and you're thinking, oh, this class doesn't really suit me. It really does. Like, it doesn't matter what warlock you usually like. This class will kind of bend itself around it, which is really cool. Pact of the Blade. If you have Vampiric Touch active, your weapon becomes vampiric, allowing you to heal from weapon attacks. Whoa, that's awesome. That's really dope. Vampiric Touch is a really great spell. I think it's a melee D12 off the top of my head. Um, and you regain half, or yeah, I think it's half the damage you deal back. Something I usually slap on Asterion. I think you can get it. There's a way to get it and have him learn. I'm trying to remember off the top of my head. He might have been. I might have given him one level of wizard and a vampire touch scroll. I'm. You can give somebody a wizard level to teach them a spell, and then um, remove the wizard level by respecking their class, and I'm pretty sure you can still use that spell. I'm trying to remember. I did that with Gale, but he was already a spellcaster, so I'm not 100%. Let's see. Pact of the Tome. Compensate for the loss of a full spell. Gives you Animate Dead. Pact of the Tome, Warlock, Undead Commander Strike. For 10 turns, you can use a bonus action to command 5. Oh, that's sick. Okay. So if you're the guy that likes to control your minions, this is for you. You can basically um, turn the game into an RTS. Level 6, necrotic energies empower you. Resistance to necrotic damage. You can use necrotic armament to have immunity to necrotic damage. Okay. Invoker, you may buy an additional soul up to 2 maximum. You gain. Oh, okay. So you can. This whole time we've only had 2 souls to harvest. That explains a lot because those features were really good, not broken. They were very balanced, I think, depending on the number of souls you can harvest and expend at once. So only having 2 at level 5 makes a lot of sense. You may now harvest multiple corpses at once, and during combat with Reap the Dead. You can overfill your shield that way. Release a spirit from your shield to distract the enemy, and you can frighten. Apparition, you can protect your allies, but this time they get a bonus of 4 to AC, and you can empower it to reduce all damage by 2. That's pretty good. Pretty big fan of warlocks myself. I'm trying to think how many times am I gonna have to play this class to really feel it all out. Let's see. Haunt. Command the angry spirits to haunt them, and they become hastened. Oh, it summons more wraiths. Okay, that's cool. I didn't notice that before. Poltergeist. Enemies away from you. Deals bludgeoning damage. You can push enemies away from you if you empower it. That's really nice. And 1d8 on hit for a total of 2d8 plus 4. You can deal double damage. So possible 40 damage. Very nice. Phantasm. These are all really fun features. Nothing super broken. And they've set it up in such a way that they made sure that the player experience is accounted for. There's books about the gods and the stuff that your character is like doing in the world. There's items to find. There's side quests. There's yeah. I would rate this without even playing it. I'm giving this a pretty high score in my head. Once I actually test it out and everything, I'm sure it's gonna be great. More skeleton hounds. Wow, there's just so much. They can teleport. You can use Commander Strike with them. The dog can summon dogs. Pact of the Blade. You gain a +1 to your attacks. Pact of the Tome. You gain a new weapon, a Bone Staff of Corruption, a quarterstaff with a +2, and you gain a +3 to your DC and spell attack saves. And ranged weapon attacks. Wow. I love that. A unique item. Summoner of the Damned Skeleton Giant, level 10. So usually with these classes, any review or like overview that I do, I want to basically kind of stop around level 12, which is the highest level in the base game. We are using mods to extend that, but once you get past that point, you've already stepped like off the boat, um, and it comes down to preference. If you like a class, if you don't like a class, if you think it's broken or not good enough or whatever, if you get past level 12, I don't think any of that matters. So once we get to like the 12th level features and stuff, we don't really dig too deep. And if we go past level 12 while playing, then everything is just this really fun surprise. Reap the Dying. Execute low enemies once per short rest. Okay. You can, like, just insta-kill a group of enemies and suck their souls. Greater Spook. Frighten nearby enemies in a large area. Uh, you can give your ally a +6 to AC. Your wraiths can be summoned to use shadow teleports and become invisible. And they can have haste. Jesus Christ, that one is crazy. Greater Haunt might be, like, low-key broken. Poltergeist, you can throw objects very far or empower it to deal even more damage. Phantasm deals even more damage. Okay. Summoner of the Create Undead. You can cast it at will. You can summon a Greater Undead Spectral Horror, which is a powerful wraith-like summon that also spawns Shadow Tendrils. Good lord. Profane Intervention. Dread Overlord. You can call upon your patron to aid you in battle, dealing damage in a wide area. Turn your minion into a walking phylactery. They will absorb all damage you would take. That is amazing. That is definitely one of the best spells or like subclass features I've seen, and it's so fitting for this like Lich Necro Warlock class. You can turn one of your minions into a phylactery, so when you get hit, they're just going to take the damage like a warding bond effect, but only they take the damage, essentially rendering you immortal, like a Lich would. Wow, very well done, Dread Overlord. This mod's going to be very, very, very good. Uh, let's see, what else was new? Polyamory was definitely new. Wings Unlocked, Camp Close, Dread Overlord. Now, I did do a bit of a live stream covering some of these other new mods that came out yesterday, but and I was gonna edit it down and do some stuff with it, but for whatever reason the VOD is like corrupted. So it's you can watch it, but I can't do anything with it editing wise. So I'm just gonna do that now. What I did the other day, if you missed it. So the other new mods that we have 6 new mods that were added the other day. Bloodmage, the Witch class, um, D20 initiative, feats on even levels, I believe, dreads on will, and uh, progressive weapons. All new mods, and we'll go over and cover them. The Blood Mage I did cover a bit in my live stream, so I can go over it a bit more quicker now instead of just reading out some of its features. Basically, this Blood Mage is a class that's using Constitution as its main stat and has multiple classes that either range in a tank-like class, subclass, a wizard-like subclass, and a Eldritch Knight type, to put it more simply. And all of its features that it has deal with dealing hemorrhaging and bleeding status effects to your enemies, using the blood in your body to fuel your spells, using the blood around you from killing enemies to increase your stats. But I'll just go over just some of my favorite features. So, just one thing that I thought was a really crazy combination, I think this makes this class really fun to play, is that it's using its blood magic causes you to take damage as you're expending blood to empower your spells. But when you kill an enemy, much like a warlock would, you gain health back, but not temporary HP. You gain health back for killing an enemy. I think it's a D4, and there are 2 other abilities that your class gets while leveling up: a cantrip and a melee attack that is a D10, and the cantrip is a D8. Now, both of these, when you use them, you gain HP back on hit. So, on hit and on death, you're constantly regaining HP. And there are tons of subclass features for each subclass that also have ways of regenerating HP. So, you don't really have to worry, especially at a later level, you don't have to worry too much about wounding yourself in order to enjoy your abilities to the fullest. Starting out level 1 through 6, you're most likely going to want to pick and choose when you're expending blood to power your spells. If you've seen the Blood Hunter from Critical Role on D&D for 5e, then this is very similar. I don't want to go over all the features just because that'll take forever. And I'm sure everybody is capable of reading themselves. I haven't had a chance to play it um, just yet, but just reading some of it and going over the live stream, we were talking about it. It's possibly overtuned. Possibly overtuned. We'd have to see how it plays out in game. And then we've got progressive weapons. Progressive weapons adds a chest full of these very rare, uniquely crafted weapons that scale with the player's level. So, in a typical RPG, you would find a chest. You would go into a cave and find a chest and pull out a sword and be like, "Oh, this is super great. I want to use it. Oh, I can't. I'm not a high enough level." In that essence, it's very similar. These are weapons that are kind of like a main character's weapon. So you would be using this starting out. It has its typical passive benefit, Chill Aura. The wielder gains resistance to cold damage, and when you hit someone with a melee attack, you deal an additional 1d4 cold damage. But at level 3, you would unlock its second passive. Your unarmed attacks deal an additional 4 through 7 cold damage. And this continues on and on. And at each unique passive also scales up. So it's not just unlocking one ability and then another ability. You're unlocking each individual ability, and then each of those ability will also scale with you. So at level 12, that Frosty Fist feature is going to be doing a d12 of damage. And this goes on. There's multiple weapon types. My issue with this mod, and the reason that I'm not using it, is because it's not 100% finished, which the author notes here in the description. This mod is in alpha and not even 10% finished based on what they want to do. And I can see the vision. It's a really great idea. We need this kind of stuff. I think we can all agree that playing Baldur's Gate 3 on more than one occasion, you find this weapon you really like to use. Like, let's say, Phalar Louv is probably one of the best weapons in the game. You get it very early on, but by Act 3, you're like, man, I'm still using this sword. Do I want to be using this sword? Should I be using a +3? Its effect is insane. Like, there's not enough. There's not enough like flavor, and there's not enough weapons in the game to warrant like um, contemplating what's the best choice to use. It's just you use the best weapon. Everyone uses the Nyrula spear. It's the best spear, period. And there's no reason to use anything else. Phalar Louv is arguably the best sword in the game because it's one-handed. We don't have to get into that, but you wouldn't want to use any other weapon for any other reason. Now the mod isn't finished, as I said, and the way that it's being implemented is my issue with it, which is that these are just going to be found in the chest in your camp at the start of the game. Um, and I just, as a rule of thumb, only use mods that have some type of like an injection into the actual game, immersive ways to acquire these things. That is the plan. They do state here that there are two types of weapons. Weapons you will find that gain progressive benefits as you use them, so you should hand them out to your companions, and your companions will have these unique weapons growing stronger with them. But there will also be legendary weapons, which are even more insane, crazy, powerful weapons that will have to be acquired through quests of some kind, as it says. Immersive acquisition. That's what I'm looking for. I only want immersive acquisition. So, very cool mod. I think it's going to be easily, like, definitely going to be in one of the top mods soon, once it's finished. But in its alpha phase, great test. Great. So, here we have the Witch. Now, the Witch is one part sorcerer, one part druid in a way. It has the essence of the nature aspect of a druid and the gameplay mechanics and resource um, monitoring of a sorcerer. So, I will be going over the Nexus page for the Witch class because the description here is a bit bare bones. Um, but yeah, so in essence, the witch has a pool of witchcraft points that can be spent to modify their spells or cast exclusive spells. And at level 2, you will also gain one of 4 subclasses. This is generally balanced around tactician difficulty, meaning that it'll most likely be slightly underpowered for honor mode, as all things should be. Nothing should be flat out broken just to play honor mode. And at level 6, 8, and 11, witches will get to choose their minor, major, and ultimate witch passive in the same way that a warlock has access to um, packs. These are a very similar thing. You have access to a few new spells, witch form, in the same way that a druid transforms into different animals. The witch uses a wild shape to become a cat, boar, raven, or panther. They have access to Pincushion, a cantrip that inflicts magical piercing damage and inflicts fatigue. You start knowing this spell. There's a second level invocation spell unique to the Frost Witch that fires 3 cold projectiles, dealing damage and a small AoE. They have access to a cantrip version of Create Water. Now that doesn't seem that interesting, but if you know the game and how to play around with water and using electricity attacks or just a bit of cheesy tactics with Create Water and your, say, a Frost Witch, create blocks of ice or trap enemies in specific areas. So having a cantrip version of Create Water is very significant. At level, there's a third level Witch Aura spell that is unique to the Hex Witch, dealing psychic damage in a cone. Very cool. There's a lot of spells to find. Now, I pulled up the Nexus page because the subclass description here is very bare bones, so bear with me as I read out the subclasses of these subclasses, but I was mistaken. So, we have the Herbalist, specializing in healing and poisoning, a Frost Witch penetrating defenses, Hex Witch, which specializes in lowering the enemy's ability to save against your spells, and the Witchblade, who has taken up the blade and uses arcane power to strengthen themselves. Now, going over trying to find better descriptions of these subclasses, I wanted to point out that a lot of the comments on this mod for the Baldur's Gate 3 mod page are describing some issues with the mod around level 3 not being able to select spells. You cannot select default spell and ability score proficiencies in character creation. They're missing the alchemy pouch and key pouch that you start the game with. The arcane blade ability is not working as intended with short swords and rapiers. This mod also does not work with level 13 through 20, so keep that in mind. So yeah, we have 3 new classes and wings unlocked, but thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. I want to be doing more breakdowns of this, but as you know, there's just so much game and so many abilities to be had, and personally, I'm just not the kind of guy that wants to upload videos that I typically see where it's an hour long, just showcase each individual ability or just reading the words that are on the screen. I'd rather do something a little bit more involved. So I'm not going to be doing the breakdown of the Mystic the way that I had originally intended. I'm not going to break down the Bloodmage or any of these new classes, but instead, I'm just going to play them and enjoy them and come up with fun builds and show you guys these builds in creative, entertaining ways. I don't want it to be a build video where it's just like Act 1, go get this item, go get that item, kill this person, boom, done. That's not entertaining. Where at the end of watching it, you're just expected to go pick up a bunch of items, and then boom, it's the exact same thing. So I hope you guys are interested in watching that, because I'm going to be using the full party mod and some of these new subclasses to spread the companions and my main character out and try to craft a sort of story to be told. But if that's not even interesting, please let me know. If you would rather I just sit here and break down each individual feature of a subclass and talk about the combos, that's totally fine with me, as long as that's something that you guys want to see. So please let me know down below in the comments But thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll catch you on the next one.